If you're about to venture off and do something that's unique that nobody in your life has done successfully, they're probably not the best people to go and talk to.
I don't think they have to have done exactly what you're doing, but it's more about the way that someone thinks versus being on the exact same path as someone. But I don't know what pants I'm going to be wearing.
Somebody, if you're listening, for the love, just send her some pants so that she doesn't have to come up with trying to decide what pants to get. Last podcast we did, I had like a little snot or something on my... You noticed that?
I think I saw it come out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Really?
I was like, I think there's some spittle or booger or something on there.
Yeah, it was like maybe a little bit of both, honestly. I was like, ooh, got to get rid of that. Because it wasn't for our podcast. It was one that we did for...
when we were recording with Giselle and Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that. I remember that. But what are you going to do?
I mean, you're going to wipe it off.
Exactly.
Like I did.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I'm excited for this. I don't know what's coming. Sarah picked out some juicy questions.
I think juicy is a strong word. When you, like, if you ask for juicy questions, you get, like, weird questions. I'm, like, certainly not going to ask that on a podcast.
Some people would.
Yes, but, you know, it's just not the
vibe. Not the Kata vibe.
Of this podcast.
Sure.
Back when we started the podcast, we did a couple of episodes where, like, you interviewed me, I interviewed you, and we were talking, you know, just kind of about our lives, things we've been through, things we've learned, et cetera, which I really liked. I really like those episodes. And I feel like we learned about each other when we were doing those episodes.
All right, hit me. What's the first one?
Oh my, just ready to dive right in.
Oh, well, what did you have in mind?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Ready?
Shall we?
Yeah.
Also, got this new shirt.
He's very proud of his new Packer shirt. If you can't see, you're not watching the video.
I got a new Packer shirt. I don't really have any Packer gear. I had like a hand-me-down Packer shirt that I wear around the house, but like not something I could really wear out. That's it though. That's like the only thing I have. Oh yeah, and a hat. Is
that the shirt you're going to wear to the game in December?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to the Packer Vikings game. It's my first ever Packer game that I've ever been to.
I mean, same.
In December. Well, yeah, obviously. You've never been a Packer fan, though. And you didn't live in Wisconsin.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Even though I really don't care. I just think it's so fun. I love live sports. Even if you are not like a huge... I wouldn't say I'm not a sports fan because I love sports. But I don't care that much about them, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't know. Because I like the way that they bring people together. I think that's fun.
Yeah, it's like a cool thing to I guess, commune over in a way. Sporting events, it's like something that does bring people together in one way or the other, whether you're rooting for the same team or the other team.
Yeah.
And one of my close friends happens to be a Vikings fan.
So we thought it would be super fun to all go to the Piker Vackings is what I was about to say.
Piker Vackings. I feel like that sounds bad. I don't know why, but
Viking Packer.
Sounds like we should we should censor that. Yes, really excited.
Together.
It's been a bummer for him for most of his life. I will say.
Most of his life.
He cares a lot more than I do. So that's even more of a bummer.
Yeah. Well,
but what can you do?
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Micah Wallace.
Oh boy.
What has been bringing you joy lately?
Wow. I mean, I think just like the progression of your belly, and like the different checkups, like you said, like every time we have a checkup and we find out that everything is is going well and on par, it's always just another good confirmation and just getting excited about having him come out and having a baby. I mean, it still hasn't really hit exactly. I feel like that, and anytime we can get to spend time with friends and or travel, those two just always bring me joy. What about you?
I know, I'm like, you're going to end up asking me these
Oh,
questions
yeah.
back.
I can't just be sitting here answering nobody wants to hear that.
I would definitely say, I mean, very similarly, the whole journey of this pregnancy, and especially now that he's moving so much, I would say that is a very like consistent thing that brings me joy. Because every time I feel him move, I'm reminded of like the reality of what's going to happen. Like that he's actually going to come out in not that long. And it starts to feel a little bit more real and like makes it more real. So yes, speaking of
moving,
that brings me joy. And then I agree, being with friends and family is always the thing that being with friends, being with family, or having new experiences with you is always a thing that brings me joy, for sure. And we've had so much of that lately, which has been such a huge blessing. In what ways are you different from the way you were 5 years ago? How about 10 years ago? In what ways are you the same? So first of all, 5 years ago was what? What month are we in? August. I was thinking about this for myself because I think it's interesting. So in August of 2019.
Holy moly.
That was 5 years ago.
Right before COVID. Little did we know.
Holy
bagolies. Okay, 2019 was before COVID. I think how I've changed, this is probably going to go from 5 and 10, and this probably just happens with age with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've always been somebody who has been pretty unapologetically myself and not really cared but what people thought. But I think it's more about like just decisions in my life and different pursuits in my life that I think that in the past I've maybe put some attachment on, well, if I do this, what are people going to think? If I stop doing this, what are people going to think? You know, and I think I've just cared less and less about that. And then the way that I've been probably still similar, I'm still pretty performance driven and still can have some comparison issues and jealousy, but I've improved in that too. But I feel like that's been, I think, a bigger, I don't know if roadblock's the right word, but
just something to consistently work on.
Yeah. It's like I think maybe it's like, I feel like we all have something in our lives that's probably come from either trauma or childhood or something in your life where it's like that's kind of like the hot button that just keeps getting pressed, and you can improve on it. Yeah, but it's always that thing that kind of comes back around, and I think that's something for me. Okay, what about you?
Well, a lot. I mean, just like when you think about your life in general. I mean, 10 years ago, my life was completely different than it is now.
Yeah.
In August of 2014, I had just, like, I married Nick in June of 2014.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just graduating college and moving out to New York City 10 years ago. Yeah. Single as a Pringle.
Pringles come in cans with so many chips. I don't understand that phrase.
It just rhymes.
I think it's cute. Yeah, so just a very different life.
Dramatically.
So I was just like working a lot, working many different jobs, pretty broke, honestly.
Oh yeah.
At that time.
For sure.
And just, I really hadn't done any work on myself at that time. So I was still like super insecure in ways I didn't even realize. Definitely very, took my value from everything external, nothing internal. And just hadn't really, I honestly hadn't been through anything difficult at that point, really.
Little did you know.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, hadn't been through anything super, not nothing difficult, but nothing like I've been through now.
Yeah.
So I would just say I didn't have any awareness of how I needed to work on myself and the ways in which I needed to grow to really create the life that I wanted to have. And I still kind of thought that I had never, it seems like so common sense, but I just had never had anyone tell me like, maybe you should examine the path at which you're going down and if that's really what you want your life to look like. Because I just didn't think I had any other choice.
Right.
I just assumed I'd be like very broke my entire life. And just
it's also kind of what was spoken into you and spoken into me. I feel like especially actors or performers, it's very much that narrative. And I think it's coming from a place of expectation, like trying to temper expectations.
For sure.
But it definitely gets spoken into you where you're like, you're going to be a struggling artist. You're going to be poor. You're not going to have money. You're not going to have a lot of money. And that in that industry in particular, that's definitely a thought. And then
I hope that it's different now.
Yeah.
As far as like college aged kids who are wanting to pursue performance or theater in particular. I hope that there's like a different script surrounding that now, because it doesn't have to be the case. And it doesn't have to be, it's not even that you need to make a ton of money. It's the stewardship.
Yeah.
And how you can figure that out to build a life that is aligned with what's important to you.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for 10 years. It's really hard to put a finger on any one certain thing, because I feel like everything about myself is different, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah. I feel like that should be the case. Like every five or so years, you're just always evolving and changing and growing.
And I would say that, and then for 5 years, it's like I had gone on a journey between 2014 and 2019. I did go through a lot of hard stuff, and that's when I started to learn more about myself and get on a growth path and kind of like dig into my relationship with God and just becoming more Christ-like and all of that stuff. So I would say the biggest difference from 2019 to now is I definitely think I've learned a lot about boundaries in that time, I would say. That's something I'm still learning about and working on, in regards to like what not over giving of myself in certain situations.
Yep.
Which can sound kind of like I'm so generous, but it's just like, learning how to say no.
Yes.
when it makes sense.
Yeah. I think you can tip far on the other side of things. It's probably, it's better than being super selfish and not giving.
Sure.
But I think there is where if you don't have boundaries, it just depends on if it's coming from a place of I am too scared of what these people are going to think if I do set boundaries,
sure,
as opposed to joyfully and willingly wanting to and genuinely wanting to, serve and pour in your time and overly do that. So I think it depends on the heart posture and where it's coming from.
Yeah. Do you have any, when it comes to how, caring less about what people think, do you have like ways that you grew in that, or why do you think that, or you just think it came from age, or both, or?
I think it is both. I think I've heard it's like the 20s, you kind of do care. 30s, you care less. 40s, you really don't care. Like it just kind of goes decade to decade. But that's not always the case for people. I think there are some people that are huge people pleasers and really have a hard time getting out of that mode. Yeah. I think like reading and listening and getting around other like people and mentors and hearing about, I don't know, it just comes back to, I think about how like I'm living my life, not anybody else's. And I have a very, specific and unique path to my own life and my purpose. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. And, we're on this earth one time. We have one life that we live. And so it would be a real shame to allow other people, because you're afraid of what they're going to think, to let you stop you from really living out your purpose and living out what you're meant to do at like your greatest potential. Mm-hmm. I don't know. For me, if somebody like if a decision that I believe is really right for my family and for my future and for our future mm-hmm. and for our son's future, and I really believe that in the right way. If somebody like has an issue with that, it's a them thing, right. Not a me thing.
For sure.
And if they do, if it's a real issue and they're going to, make a big thing out of it, then I'm going to create separation. It's probably not going to be the right person to have in my life then anymore. Yeah. I'll find other people that will be. Yeah. Like there'll be other friends, because a true friend would not do that. A true friend would support you. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's more that is like, as I'm going through it, like as I'm growing up and over time, I think I've been just thinking more on that of, I can't don't live somebody else's life because of what they want you to do. Mm-hmm. It's like live your life, and that doesn't mean to not seek counsel on certain things, maybe. Yeah. But it's make sure it's from people that have the life that you want or results that you want in the area that they're willing to give you, mm-hmm. as opposed to maybe somebody that may want what's in their best interest. Sure. Or just operating out of insecurity.
Or even people that just love you, but they can't really help you move forward or anything. Or maybe they have built one kind of life for themselves and the life that you want is different. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make sense to seek their counsel because they're going to give it based off of their perspective and what they've experienced. And
yeah, because maybe you're pursuing or maybe you're doing something that the people in your life have not done before. Right. So that's a totally different thing. Yeah. Then maybe it makes sense to try to find somebody else that is further along in that particular area.
Yes.
Because they're not going to, like the people in your life, if you're your friends, family, mentors, parents, if you're about to venture off and do something that's unique that nobody in your life has done successfully, they're probably not the best people to go and talk to.
Yeah. I don't think they have to have done exactly what you're doing, but it's more about the way that someone thinks mm-hmm. versus being on the exact same path as someone.
Yeah.
Because maybe someone has, done someone loves their 9-to-5 job lifestyle, and that's all that and that's what they want, and that's what they know, and mm-hmm. that's exciting for them. Mm-hmm. And if you're in a different season of life where that's not your ultimate end goal, how can someone who has that as their ultimate end goal give you any proper perspective on what you're looking to do?
Right.
What are 3 words you want to describe your next 3 months?
What?
I think this is a fun one.
Oh boy. Next 3 months. Well, the next 3 months is going to be baby time. Mm-hmm. Joy, gratitude, and adventure.
Why do you choose those?
I was going to say, you want me to expound? Mm-hmm. I think always practicing joy is really important, no matter what season you're in. Yeah. Same with gratitude. It's hard to be bitter and gracious. Grateful at the same time. Yeah. I'm changing one. I want present.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. I want especially with having a son, I want to practice being present and being more present with him, and especially since we do social media for our living, and we're busy, and it can be easy to just get sucked into that, and I don't want my whole life to go. I don't want to get to the end of my life and say, I wish I would have looked up from my phone more. I've been thinking a lot about that. And I want to be able to experience life more.
So which one is that replacing?
I guess they'll replace adventure. Adventure will come in the new year.
Sure.
When we're able to travel again with your kid. With our kid.
That's a good one. I like present. The first one that came to mind for me was peaceful. Because I just want everything to be peaceful.
The birth.
Yes.
Peaceful.
Labor. Afterwards, leading up to it.
Are you getting less nervous, or are you about the same amount of nervous?
I'm less nervous for sure.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, the closer it gets, the less nervous I
That's
feel.
Interesting.
Because it's inevitable.
Right.
What's the point in being nervous? There really isn't one. I'm gonna go through it, and it's gonna be fine. Like literally, people do it every day, and every time I see someone who it's like, oh, literally yesterday this person did not have a baby, and today they do. Like they're fine.
Right. Yeah, they survived. Yeah.
I honestly don't feel nervous.
Good.
But I just want it to be peaceful because, like I've said before, I can just get very high strung about certain things. And I do still feel that high strungness when I feel like there's a lot of things I need to do and need to get organized, but I don't know what any of them are.
Yeah. Like, you mean like just postpartum,
yes.
What you need for postpartum.
Yes. That's why I posted on our story this morning being like, what the heck do you need for postpartum care? Because I feel like you need a million things, and you probably don't, first of all. Mm-hmm. And second of all, I don't know what those things are.
Yeah.
Every time I watch someone else's video about like their hospital bag, I'm like, what is all of this? Do I need all of this? What do I actually need? Mm-hmm. And then I just spiral into like, I'm not prepared when I probably don't even need a lot of what people say you need, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have like no clothes for after I give birth to this baby.
You can just wear my clothes.
What clothes of yours? Like your clothes won't even fit me. Sweatshirts. It'll only be October. It's not gonna be that chilly yet.
Yeah, I guess we could just put the AC down.
I'm like, I have
T-shirts.
I have no pants.
Yeah,
to wear that are comfortable.
We might need to just get some pants.
And for
anybody have suggestions for some good maternity?
I guess it's
not maternity. No, it's postpartum. Yeah, postpartum clothing, postpartum pants.
Like comfy, stretchy, I guess. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm like, I have no idea.
You know what? We probably have some friends that we could ask. She acts as if we don't have like 100 different friends that have had children or are having children that we couldn't just ask.
Yeah, I know. There's something about asking those things. It feels like a bother.
I don't think it's a bother.
No, I know for a fact it's not.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the small things like that get under my skin in a way that big things don't. Like
small
I'm like,
things, as in
I'm like, labor, great. But what pants am I going to wear a week after I give birth? That's what I'm stressed about.
Yes, that does check out. Yeah. It is the little things like what shelf do we get for the nursery? What shelf?
Don't even get me started.
It is all that stuff. But like, yeah, the bigger stuff. Oh, we lost health insurance through our pregnancy. Now we don't have health insurance. Whatever. It'll be figured out. Like, we still don't have health insurance. We're just gonna, we're just gonna raw dog it, I guess.
Yep, figure it out.
Yeah, it is true. It's the little things that you do that you get anxious about.
Yes.
That are really not a big deal.
No.
Yeah.
They're not. And it's like if there's some day where I'm like, oh, I realize in this moment I don't have any pants to wear. Someone can run out and buy me some pants from Target. Uh-huh. You know, like it's not logically these are not things to worry about.
Right.
But the way that my type A-ness is like, no, I need my drawer organized with every piece of clothing that I'm possibly going to need postpartum.
Color coded.
Yes, and it needs to be done in advance. So
again, what am I going to do?
Again, this child has got to mellow me out.
I think
when it comes to the little things like that.
You.
Yeah.
You're going to be forced to. With that and therapy, I think should probably help.
What do you mean?
To mellow you out.
Like counseling?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. But I think that's like all the big stuff.
Maybe you need it for the little stuff.
Apparently so. I need it for just my pants organization.
Well, because it's like figuring out why is that? Like, why do you operate in that way?
It's because it's something I feel like I can control. Like there's so many things
yeah,
I can't
so
control, but what
you're
I
a lot
can.
yes. So things that are out of your control, you have it's a pretty easy time to be like, I mean, what can you do? It's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
But things that is what bring the anxiety.
Yes.
Because it's like, well, this is something that I could do something about.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the right decision is.
Yes. I could be as prepared as possible in this situation, but I don't really know how to be.
Yeah. Right. I get that. That's like me trying to pick out shoes.
Oh. Yeah, that is a journey for sure.
Oh gosh, first world problems, goodness me.
So that's why I picked the word peace, because I want to feel peaceful surrounding those. I want to let go of those little things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
And be present for what will matter, which is just being with him and bonding with our son and us being together. Which it's like, because that I know will happen, but I don't know what pants I'm going to be wearing.
All right. So what's the next question? We'll talk about this offline.
Clearly someone help me with pants.
Yeah. So somebody, if you're listening, for the love, help, or just send her some pants so that she doesn't have to come up with trying to decide what pants to get. Just send her.
Send me one
she wears
option.
a medium currently. So just send some medium size comfy pants that are good for postpartum.
Oh, what's your proudest moment
Ever in my life?
Yeah.
Well, haven't had a kid yet, so can't play that card.
Yeah, I do think that. I think that's certainly going to become.
That's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
No, it's such a hard question.
Yeah.
Because I could say I'm proud of what we've created with our, our social media and like how that's grown. And I put in a lot of work. And so I feel like that's something that I feel like, hey, my hard work has paid off kind of a thing. But I also feel it's like kind of shallow. Like
having a proudest moment is kind of difficult, but like my first thought was like, I'm proud of our
relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's much better.
It's not much better. It's just the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
But that's not one moment. That's just like the energy we've put in over time, which is exactly what you're saying.
I was thinking like a moment, like it was a proud moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah, I'm too. We've worked hard at that too.
We have. When have you felt the most challenged?
Starting anything new. Like starting this podcast, starting, a different platform like YouTube, doing those vlogs, just anything, starting a business, starting anything that the starting is when I feel really challenged, and where I'm probably the most anxious is because I just want to get good at it. I want to be good at it faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's faster than what's realistic.
Sure.
And so I think anything that's brand new that is always kind of like challenging. And then challenge to like continue doing something even if the results aren't there. Yeah. If I'm not getting feedback, if I'm not getting results or feedback that what you're doing is producing anything. Mm-hmm. And when you go through a period of time where if that's not happening, that's challenging as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with that.
What about you?
I agree with that for sure. I would say for me, it's my forgiveness journey from my past relationship. That was a real challenge for me. And I did it by partnering with God, but it was difficult.
Yeah. For those who are new, when we met, she was previously married, and he, like a couple months later when we were on tour, he came out as gay, and then that's why we're married now.
I mean, that's not why, but then we
right.
And going through the like grieving process of that relationship. And just like, no matter if you have something big happen in your life, then you have to like mourn a life that you thought you were going to have, even if it's for the best.
Right.
And then obviously, like, I lost my brother right before that. So the combination of those two things is probably definitely
That's fair.
The most challenging season that I've ever gone through, where I really had to be intentional with just my thought life and leaning into God and like just knowing that not every thought I had was a true thought, and not every feeling I had needed to reside in me for a long period of time. Like, I could just experience things that just like let them pass through so that I could move on. And also, like, just learning how to being able to forgive something that was a hurt that was unintentional. Going on that journey was really eye-opening for me and very challenging also. So I would say that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. This one's probably going to change. I feel like maybe after we have kids, this will maybe adjust, but what's something you want to be remembered for?
Yeah, I was going to say now having I want to be remembered as being a great father, and a loving father, and a supportive father.
A present father?
Yes. Yeah, a present father. I think it's just so important, and it's like one of the biggest responsibilities, and it's not flashy. Mm-hmm. You know, you're never going to read a headline, this guy was the best father ever, or like
there for his kids every day.
Yeah. And super supportive and raised great kids. Like, it's just not promoted. So, but that and also someone who is a good friend.
Yeah.
Someone who is there for people and can make them laugh.
Definitely. I'd say you're accomplishing that for sure.
Are you going to say yours?
I mean, similar to me, like the kind
you
of
want to be a good father?
I want to be a loving father. I want to be a great mom, and someone who people can say that I lived my life through that I was integrous. Is that a word?
Integrous? Yes. Yeah, that's a word.
Where my words and actions aligned. Like who I said I was and what I said I wanted to do and the values I said were important to me, that I walked those things out in reality, in my actions across all areas of life. So across parenting, across being a wife, across being a friend, being a Christian, all of those things.
Yeah.
I want it to be said of me that my actions and my words aligned, both behind closed doors and in front of others.
And we're back. Sorry, I had a phone call that I had to take.
And then I just had to cry for a moment.
And then Sarah watched our what is that?
It's
called?
Like a little video.
Maternity shoot.
Yeah, it's like a little video highlight reel of our maternity pictures. Goodness me.
It's pretty
it's
sweet.
Like put a sweet song to anything and I'm just destroyed.
True. But you're 33 weeks pregnant now, officially, which is crazy. It's crazy because from now on, the baby's literally going to be growing like by the pound.
I know.
Every week.
Yep.
It's crazy to think about you growing like another like 4 or 5 pounds.
I
mean, the baby, not you.
I know what you mean, but it's like, how's there any more space in there? It already feels so tight.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I guess that's why people get stretch marks at the end, because I'm like, my skin already feels like it's at capacity, but it has 7 more weeks to go because I don't have any stretch marks yet.
Come on now. Amen.
So, but I'm trying not to get too attached to that idea. I feel like they come at the end because that's when it's really stretching.
I have stretch marks and I don't know where that came from.
You had a growth spurt.
Yeah, maybe. I have like these little these stretch marks on my like fanny, the side of my butt, and I was like, I've never had a big butt.
No.
I've never been large, like ever.
No.
And so I was like, where?
What is this?
Did that come from? It's
you can
interesting.
put some of my belly oil on.
Yeah,
them.
I'm gonna put some. Okay.
See what that does.
Puts your belly oil on my fanny.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, you want to finish her out?
Yeah.
All right.
And as always, we like to end our podcast by singing.
Goodbye. Did you do the same note both times?
I did. Throw a curveball.